Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Palmadocia, Dr. Speed Selling. This is the Raging Verbalist number 102. Raging Verbalist is basically my YouTube channel. It also shows up on Facebook. You can go to Position to Win book group on Facebook and you can check it out there. You can also put in things that you want me to talk about and topics and all of that. I cover a variety of things that interest me. I do not dabble too far into politics. I stay away from that because it's a crazy time. And of course, with me as always is the lovely Sandra. Sandra, how are you doing?
I am good. How about yourself?
On the road, doing the crazy dance, So, so we had a lot to cover today, everybody. We got to get going fast. So Sandra's told me that I have to talk twice as fast as I normally do, so that way we can get in more of the stuff that we need to do. So, by the way, if you have not subscribed, if you've not liked, if you've not shared this with a friend, what are you waiting for? Now's the time to do it. Also, you can go to positiontowinbook.com and check out all my other great fine stuff. You know what to do. Let's get it going. Sandra, what is the topic and what is the first question you have?
All right. So, as you know, 10 months of the year are gone. So, what percentage of goal setters have achieved what they thought they were going to achieve in 2021?
Great question. So, first off, there's this whole, demarcation point because there's a lot of people who don't set goals or they set really, bad goals. People say, well, there's no such thing as a bad goal. Yeah, there are. So what you want to do is, if you're asking the question, how many people actually started the year, wrote down a bunch of goals, and then worked hard to achieve them this year and actually did it? If I was an optimist, I would probably say 15%, maybe 20%. But as a realist, not a pessimist, but a realist, I would say it's probably closer to 5% really seriously has that. If you ask somebody what their goal is, in fact, everybody, you can do this as a test. If you meet somebody and you think they're a goal setters are really people who sit down and try to figure out what they're going to do. Ask them if they can tell you and articulate their goals, and in all likelihood, they won't be able to. So I'm going to say probably 5%, 1 in 20 have really worked hard towards their goals and achieved a bunch of those things. Most New Year's resolutions, there's the 72-hour rule. I mean, if you're not going to keep it going after 72 hours, it's probably not going to happen. And then everybody, of course, says to themselves, okay, any day I'm going to get started back up on that, but not today. So yeah, I would say 5%, somewhere in there. And that's sad, really.
That is sad. So with that, it seems like they're stuck in kind of a bad version of the movie Groundhog Day, where they just keep repeating the same day over and over again, but not really getting closer to where they want.
Yeah, the best intentions of everybody is that you're writing this stuff out and you're thinking about it and you're saying, this is the year I'm going to have a breakout year. It's going to be my best year ever. I'm going to go out and do those types of things. And what happens is that life intercedes. It's easy to be positive when you got a bunch of jingle in your pocket and things are going great and you feel it really good and your relationship is just fine. Just found this out a couple of days ago. I was at a friend, I was at his house and I was traveling, and he and I were sitting there and hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. We're talking about how he's got some new things going on in his business. And the new hotshot, the guy who's making everything happen, just found out that his wife is divorcing him. I mean, out of the blue, bam, hard to stay happy after that. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have something catastrophic like that, but the reason why it's like Groundhog Day is that every day we have the things that pop up, stuff that we need to do, which attrit away our time. That's a fancy way of saying it. Just bleeds it out, and we lose that time. And because we lose that time, we get to the end of the day, exhausted, tired, and go, well, maybe I'll take another run at it tomorrow, or maybe not. But that's what happens, and that this happens over and over and over again. This is the cycle is that people repeat on an ongoing basis. One of the things that you want to start thinking about, and here is here's your first nugget, that if you haven't written anything down and you're not doing anything dangerous, you may want to write this down, which is that you want to learn that some things you're going to have to say no to. Some of the world you don't need to take on your shoulders because you have to focus on what is important, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. So that's the important reality of life. So yeah, people do that and they really don't get any closer to where they want to go. And life intercedes. I see this a lot in seminars. This is like, and Sandra's been to a couple live events with me, is that everybody leaves excited, pumped up, ready to go. That's what we want to do. And then they get home and I give them warning. Life is going to intercede. And when it does, you know, air's going to get out of the balloon and a few months go by and then years go by or whatever it is, and you do not get to where you want to go.
All right, so what are the off ramps to the seemingly highway of limited achievement?
So I would say there's several of them. We just talked about the power of no. The other one is that you need to figure out how to separate what you really want to do versus what you kind of wish you could do. And I will just share a true story. If in fact I could learn how to speak a foreign language, Spanish in my case, by buying and this goes back for years. This is like I need a 12-step program because I keep buying software. I keep buying, language. I used to have, believe it or not, I had vinyl, I had cassettes, I've got CDs, you name it, I've got it. But I've got flashcards. All this, by the way, is available for a fee if you want to, bail me out on this lifetime addiction. But that doesn't get it done because you have to take the action step. So that's really the off ramp, is taking action, so it's no, and then it's accountability and it's action. Those are the three off ramps to this. And you may need, in fact, and that's what we're going to be talking about, but you may need help getting there because you need somebody to talk to. And that's usually not your significant other, your spouse, definitely not your boss in my experience, because rarely do bosses bosses don't want to hear that like your life is messed up. I mean, they've got a whole troop of people whose lives are messed up. It's called their team, but so that becomes an issue. So what you got to do is you got to find a way to get that hurdle taken care of. And there is one word that I'm going to say right now, and that is you want to probably think about getting a coach. And we'll talk about more about that as we go along.
All right, so I have friends who say, I don't need this stuff. So how does one know if they need a coach?
Well, and I understand that because for many years I did not have a coach. Now I ended up lucking out, and not saying that you shouldn't try to luck out. Maybe you can luck out. But what I did was I actually had a mentor, and my mentor in high tech, Big Joe, really acted as a coach. Rare to have a boss act as a coach. Now, he didn't act as a coach to other people on the team. I just kind of pushed that, and he pushed it back, and we worked in that vein, and we worked together that way. Now, that was great. However, what most people who say I don't need it, there's a great saying, a great quotation. I don't know if it's a paraphrase or not, but I've heard it, which Earl Nightingale, amazing guy as far as talking about self-improvement, self-development, what you can do, is Earl Nightingale said, those who need it the most seek it the least. Those who need it the least seek it the most. I realized that I needed to get someone. I needed to get a coach. I needed to get somebody to help out with that. Now, I'm kind of a little bit of a skeptic on some of these things. So I'm reading about Michael Jordan. Yeah, the Michael Jordan. Now, I don't know if he was the greatest basketball player ever. I don't know about those things because, again, I'm not like a basketball fanatic. But what I can tell you is that he was quite exceptional in his ability to play. And Michael Jordan had, when he was with the Chicago Bulls, he had two coaches. He had Phil Jackson, his head coach, and he had another coach, position coach. And Michael Jordan wanted to become better. Michael Jordan wanted to become, well, as we would now know him, Michael Jordan, all capital letters, by the way. And what he did was he went out and got not one, not two, but three additional coaches that he paid for out of his own pocket, all of them to help him in a variety of different areas. Tom Brady has done the same thing, in which he has external coaches to the team who help him out personally, which obviously it worked out for those two guys. So I believe that you need a coach if you, in fact, want to achieve significantly more than you have already. Also, you have no idea of the perspective that you have, because we are all victims. Maybe victims is the wrong word. We're all trapped by the background that we have lived. our family upbringing, what has taken place, how we have gone through our life in general. All of that generates whether or not you're going to be successful in life. It shouldn't be a stop. It shouldn't hinder you, but it does, because you actually know life through that prism, through that lens, through what you see. A coach gives you the opportunity, the potential of actually moving beyond that, and moving beyond that in a significant way.
So how does talent fall into this?
So if you're really a talented person out there, good on you. That's fantastic. And whatever talent you have, that's great. But what I can tell you is that there are more people who have high degrees of talent who, in fact, underachieve significantly, who actually don't do what they should be able to do. And I have seen this around me in all walks of life. Now, having done lots of turnarounds, it's amazing to go in and find somebody who has significant talent, who have never cultivated, who've never worked on it, who've never put the best them out on the field, never figured that out. In fact, their talent allowed them to do a lot of things that most everyone else couldn't do. Their talent meant that, well, when they were in school without studying, without much effort, they could easily get a B. And that maybe that was okay. But, and if they put a little effort, they could get an A. But that's it. They could just, kind of waltz through life. However, what happens is that talent not cultivated tends to spoil. And in fact, what it does is it puts people in a rut, because they don't do the things that they need to do because they have this talent. Squandering of talent is so sad and is so difficult. In fact, one of the things that I teach every single one of my clients, every coaching client, every consulting client, anybody who I've ever worked with, is that I am always seeking talented people. I look for talented people everywhere I go. And if I see somebody who has talent, if I see someone who has that innate capability, whatever that might be, is I always try to figure out, can I hire them? Can I give them a word of encouragement? Can I direct them in the right path so they can actually capitalize on their talent, so they can go do something above and beyond what they are doing right now, whatever that might be. Talent is very critical. However, in some ways, talent becomes overrated, because there are people who say, well, I'm just not talented. Well, I can tell you that somebody who has less talent but works hard is going to achieve and be successful. Doesn't mean that talent doesn't have a factor. It does. And in fact, it's one of the things that we discuss in my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes 3 to 5 years to realize it. Now, we have, and that's all about positioning to win. Now we have a little bit of fun with technology, so we'll see how well the book shows up. But you can go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. You can buy it right from there. Go to Barnes and Noble. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Books A Million. You can also buy it in every electronic version possible, Kindle, Nook, and iBooks. And all I'm going to tell you is that in here, we talk about how to go from talent to then skills and a variety of other things. And what we do is we lay it out for you so you can figure out where you fit. Go check that out if you're sitting there wondering about that. And more importantly, one of the things that I do as a coach, because I'm in some ways I view myself as the anti-coach. Now, I don't have a coaching program that is a standard coaching program. I work with individuals who have whatever skills, talents, and capabilities they have. They bring it to the table. And my job as the coach is to help find the best path for them. Check it out. Go to positiontowinbook.com. And what you'll also be able to do is find all the other things that I do. And you can find out about my coaching program, because maybe, yes, maybe you're going to move from from the 95% of goal setters who don't really get where they want to go to the 5% of goal setters who actually do it, to maybe the 1% who achieve amazing, incredible things. And you know how you know they're amazing, incredible things is that as you look back on your life's achievements and you can say, I did this, and I was the first person in my lineage to achieve X, or I was the number one person in Y, or I started a business and it became extremely successful, or I sold my business for more money than I ever thought possible. All of that happens when you have the right person in your corner helping you understand what is possible and how to, in fact, package that and make that work. So consider that, and go and figure out whether or not you really need a coach. I think you do, and make 22 a different year than 21, or obviously 20.
All right, so how did you personally figure out how to break this seemingly endless cycle in your life?
So since I have a very different background than most people, and Sandra, that's a very good question. Most of the time, when one runs into failure, we get very upset and we like, well, there's got to be a way to get around this. There's got to be something we can do. How do I get there? And I kept going in and out of these kinds of issues. And what I did was I realized that getting involved in becoming a better person and learning how to do things and becoming more organized and all of that is that I realized that these failures and successes, that some of the mistakes that I made were really mistakes of just omission. I didn't understand what was going on. So that's when I started thinking about, how do I get out of this? How do I find somebody? Now, the biggest break that I had, especially in high tech, is that, and it's hard to believe that that was, I'll whisper, 36 years ago, but 36 years ago, I ended up getting somebody who would in fact become my mentor in high tech and other things. Now, he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't the perfect coach, but he set me on a path of where I was always looking for that next person who could help me take what I have and get further along. And because of that, I eventually end up meeting or seeing and then meeting Dan Kennedy, and he became really my first serious coach. And tip of the hat and a debt of gratitude to Dan, because absolutely changed my direction of my life. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for meeting Dan. And more importantly, the fact that he gave very blunt, very direct advice. I tried a lot of other things that didn't work, a lot of, coach in a can kind of thing. And what I found out is that I needed somebody who was much straight shooter than that. So that's what I did in breaking that endless cycle in life. And it has worked amazingly well.
All right, so with so many different choices and options in personal development and coaching, how do you find one?
Well, the internet is interesting because if you type in coaching, you are bombarded with, I don't know how many millions and billions of people. And in fact, there's a lot of people who go out and become, a life coach or whatever you want to call it. So the challenge is to kind of sit there and ask yourself, so what are you really looking for? Are you looking for a cheerleader? Are you looking for somebody to get to point in the right direction? Is it really time for you to go and take that next step up the ladder and move to another place? Are you going to find people who are in what my mind, hucksters and hustlers and grifters who will tell you what you want to hear? Or are you going to find somebody who's really real about that? And my suggestion is that the first thing you say is, what things am I stuck with? What things aren't working for me? I run into people all the time, especially when I'm out speaking. It's been a while going out speaking because, of course, of the certain pandemic that's going on. But I can tell you that I'll run into people and they'll be looking and grasping for something. And I'm going to share with you what I think everybody is looking for. You're looking for somebody who can take you from this isolation in your head. See, we're all afraid that if we say it out loud, that we actually need help, that we need to go further, that we need to get a break in life, that it's a sign of weakness. And then I just go back and look over history and we read about sort of Isaac Newton. I mean, Newton was an absolute genius. I mean, first off, he invented calculus. I don't know if you've ever taken a calculus course, but this guy invented it without having anybody there to say, oh, by the way, here's the cheat on how to do it. And he puts together the laws of thermodynamics and gravitation and all of that. And Newton, in a way, is the answer to what we're talking about here, which is, Newton said, if I have achieved anything, it's because I have stood on the shoulder of giants. We need to find people who can help us stand on the shoulder of giants. And that's why you need to start thinking about what you want to do. What giants' shoulders do you want to stand on?
So how do you choose the right one?
So you take the larger list, you do some serious thinking, and you build out and say, what am I really trying to look to achieve? In my opinion, the right one is somebody who is going to not just tell you what you want to hear, because if that was the case, then all you're getting is you're getting validation and affirmation about something that is kind of, you're getting stuck. You're there. What you really want to do is find somebody who's going to push you, who's going to drive you, who's going to make you go further than you were going to go otherwise. See, it's always interesting to watch people who are successful, because most people who are successful have a burning desire, have a sense that they need to go do something more than they've done before. They understand, as Emerson said, if you stand up and you close your eyes and you put an imaginary circle around you and say, this is my world, this is the world I live in, to always understand that there is a larger, more complete, bigger circle beyond that one, and then beyond that one, and beyond that one. So you find the right one by somebody who's going to push you, who's going to take you and put you that next level. Now I'm going to give you a very shameless plug. I work with very successful people, but I've also worked with people who are just starting out, who need to figure out which direction they're going to go. Now I lean to the marketing and sales side of the world. However, I know a lot about how businesses get put together and get structured. And I have been through enough life lessons. Take advice from people who've actually gone out and done these things and learned these things and developed these things. And oh, by the way, if you say, well, but I can just go watch some things on the internet, I can just go, Google a couple things or hit YouTube or go, that's fine. As long as you actually do it in a systematic way, as long as you're willing to work at it. Because what happens is that a coach will tell you what you need to hear at that precise exact moment. You can never know exactly what you need at any point in time, because you are too inwardly focused, because you cannot step outside of yourself. That is the reality of life.
All right. So what should your expectations be for achievement?
Well, the first thing that you want to understand is that when people have the switch flipped on, bing, and their light bulb goes on and their head gets excited and they're just running around, is that they start going, wow, if I write this stuff down and I put little Post-it notes on my bathroom mirror and I do all of those positive things that I start believing that anything that a mind can conceive, it can achieve. Well, I'm going to tell you that means your expectations are going to probably take you to the wrong place. Sandra and I were talking earlier, because Sandra at one point in time was involved in the talent business, and people who wanted to be actors and wanted to be models and wanted to be, famous, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to be famous and all that? And you have to deal with the reality of what you got. Now, if you're a certain build or certain something, you got to understand that in all likelihood, though you may achieve better than you've ever done before, you may not become you may not become the next Michael Jordan. You may not become the next supermodel. You may not become some of those people. Your expectations, and I don't want you to have lower expectations, but what I want you to do is understand is that no one has enough time in their life to make all the mistakes by themselves. Learning about mistakes by somebody else, by proxy, is a much better way to do it. And it's a much better way to do it because what happens is that way you can get invaluable experience and not make the same mistake that somebody else has already gone through, watched and ruined their life and destroyed things and got to that next side. So you want to make sure that you learn from others, which is why having a coach is an ideal way to do that, because a coach, again, as long as they've had true real life experience, can help you through. And one of the things, I'm going to bash some of the coaching programs out there, so I'm going to make a negative statement. If you sign up for a program that has a big masthead, famous looking person, I don't care who it is, and you end up getting into a call center, and the person who's in the call center is basically, working the phones, and you say a couple of keywords and you hear them clicking them into the computer so it can pop up and give you wisdom from this. I'm going to tell you that may be coaching, but that is not what I mean by coaching, because that may help you do that, but it is going to leave you wanting, lacking, and unsuccessful. Sandra, I know we're running tight on time. What do we have? What's our final question for Raging Verbalist 102?
All right. So how important is it for continuous improvement and development to sustain your success factors?
I guess this is not the last one. We're gonna go into extra innings, everybody. So I think it is very important that you develop the same concept. The Japanese call it Kaizen, and that means every day, every day, every day, write this down, write it down, put it there on a 3x5 card. This is something you really should put up on maybe on a bathroom mirror, but every day you need to do continuous improvement. Every day you need to go find something else. Every single day you need to find a way to make a better you so you are prepared. See, here's the mistake. People think that because they become a better you, a better somebody, they'll sit there and they'll listen to me. They say, John, well, you could probably sell something to anybody. Well, the question is, can I sell it to anybody? The real question is, can I sell it to that somebody that I'm talking to? I don't win 100% of the time. Doesn't happen. That isn't how the world works. What you really need to understand is that continuous improvement is making you better prepared and better able to deal with the reality of the world, to deal with the reality of how all this stuff fits together. Make sure that you always commit yourself to continuous improvement. If you never seek a coach, if what you're listening to from me right now is as far as you're ever going to go, I'm going to leave you with a very important insight. If you take concentrated time, and I'm talking, it can be as short as 3 minutes, should be a little longer, every single day, no matter what, I'm talking about no matter what, and you look at something, learn something, improve something. If you do that, what will happen is that over time, there is a compounding factor, which will have a significant impact in your life. Continuous improvement is essential for any success that you're going to have. And with that, you will in fact get to places that you never got to before. See, life is all about the journey and how well you do along that journey. So now, Sandra, what is the final question?
All right. So what can a coach do for you, and what can't a coach do for you?
So a coach can point out areas that you need to improve, can show you techniques and tools, can help you develop strategies and tactics. A coach can do all of those things and be that encouragement when you need it, be that admonishment when you need it, and help keep you on that road that you want to get to. What a coach cannot do for you, and if anybody promises that they can, run away, because they are not telling you the truth. They're not telling you even close to the truth. What a coach cannot do is, in fact, make you successful in every circumstance and situation. All they can do is help you be the best that you are, because that's what you have. Understand the best you is, in fact, incredible and amazingly capable, and in fact utilizes all the talents that you have. Sadly, I have seen people with awesome talents that are underutilized. I've seen people with great opportunity unrealized. And more importantly, I've seen people who have sat there and missed out on some of the most amazing things that could have been achieved in life. What a coach can do is help you get to more of those situations and circumstances so you have a chance to go and grab that ring and make that happen. If that happens, then all of this would be worthwhile. All of this is so important, because the most important thing for you to remember, constantly remember, is that in the end, whether you have a coach or you don't have a coach, is it's on your shoulders. Having a coach means that not only is it on your shoulders, however, it's also somebody is there to help you become more successful each and every day. And if you do that, you'll have a fuller, richer, better life. This is John Paul Medici, the Raging Verbalist. This has been number 102 for myself and the lovely Sandra. Go out and have a great whatever time you're going to be doing it. And just remember that if you need a coach, and I think you do, you can always go to positiontowinbook.com. Check it out. I have a program. Also, there's other places you can go. But more importantly, make sure that you make a commitment to finding out how to become the best that you can possibly be, and leave it all on the field, and know that at the end of the day, you have done the best job that you could have ever done. Thank you.